Keep your tomatoes fresh for 2 years with a trick from a seasoned farmer. Hello, it's great to see you again on the Clever Tricks channel. Since learning this trick, my house is almost never without cherry tomatoes. Whenever we need them, we just take them out. Incredibly convenient, and the tomatoes are always juicy, fresh, and retain their flavor. With just a few simple yet highly effective tips, you can keep cherry tomatoes fresh and delicious all year round, ready for use in any dish. Let's discover them now. I have created subtitles in multiple languages. Please select your preferred language. Comment below and let me know which country you are watching from. It's amazing that we can connect from all around the world. Method 1. Use a container with ventilation holes. Cherry tomatoes need to breathe. When air circulates gently, tomatoes will retain their juiciness, prevent condensation inside, and avoid becoming soft or moldy. Containers with ventilation holes are widely available in American supermarkets because they help fruits and vegetables retain their natural freshness for longer. You buy cherry tomatoes at the supermarket. Tomatoes are always kept in plastic containers with ventilation holes. When you buy them, you shouldn't wash the tomatoes before storing them to avoid increasing the risk of dampness and spoilage. Check them again and discard any bruised, cracked, or leaking tomatoes. One spoiled tomato can ruin the whole box very quickly. Place a tissue inside the box. Paper towels will absorb excess moisture, a factor that causes tomatoes to soften quickly. Close the lid but leave it slightly ajar. To preserve the most natural sweetness, store at room temperature in a cool, well-ventilated place. If you need to store it for longer, keep it in the refrigerator, vegetable compartment, but leave the lid slightly ajar to prevent condensation. Avoid storing tomatoes near apples and bananas. They release ethylene, which causes tomatoes to ripen too quickly. Storage time. At room temperature, 3 to 5 days. In the refrigerator, 7 to 10 days, or even longer if the tomatoes are very fresh. After trying many different methods, I found that storing cherry tomatoes in a perforated container helps them retain their freshness naturally. They don't get soggy, don't become soft, and their color remains beautiful. Method 2. Preservation using a glass container. Prepare a glass container with a lid, a tight-fitting type or a lid with a 4-sided locking mechanism. I usually don't wash them before storing to avoid increasing moisture. Only wash them when eating or preparing them. Separate any soft, leaking, or cracked fruits. One damaged fruit can ruin an entire box very quickly. Place a layer of paper towels at the bottom of the glass jar. The towels help absorb the tomatoes' natural moisture and keep them dry and airy. Place the tomatoes in the container in 1 to 2 thin layers. Do not press or pack them tightly to avoid bruising and water loss. Close the lid but leave a small gap for ventilation. Where are you from? It's such a joy that we're connecting from all over the world. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for your support. Keep in the refrigerator's crisper drawer. Place it in the vegetable compartment or the middle rack. They last 7 to 10 days, sometimes longer if the tomatoes are very fresh. When the cloth becomes slightly damp or waterlogged, replace it with a new one. Changing the cloth helps prevent excessive moisture, which causes tomatoes to become soft and moldy. Of the methods I've tried, I prefer using glass jars the most because cherry tomatoes retain their juiciness and beautiful color. Glass jars also limit condensation, so the tomatoes don't soften quickly. They stay fresh much longer whether stored in the refrigerator or at room temperature. Method 3. Freezing whole tomatoes. Gently rinse the tomatoes under running water to remove dirt. Then, let them drain completely or wipe them dry. Tomatoes that are still damp will easily stick to ice and frost, which looks unsightly. Choose tomatoes that are firm and plump. Spoiling tomatoes can easily affect the entire bag when frozen. Line the tray with parchment paper or a clean cloth. Arrange the tomatoes individually, making sure they don't stick together. This is called flash freezing, freezing each tomato separately so they don't clump together when removed for use. Place the tray in the freezer for about 2 to 3 hours, or until the tomatoes are completely firm. Once the tomatoes are frozen, remove them from the refrigerator. Frozen cherry tomatoes that don't need thawing. Use them in soups, sauces, pasta, stir-fries, stews, pizza sauces, etc. It can be stored for 6 to 12 months. Just drop them directly into the pot, and the tomatoes will thaw and soften very quickly. Don't use frozen tomatoes for salads because they will lose their crispness. I find freezing whole tomatoes to be the quickest way while still preserving their natural flavor. When you need to cook, just take them out and use them immediately. No thawing or further preparation is required. Perfect for busy days. Method 4. Making and freezing the sauce. Washed cherry tomatoes. You can leave the skin on or blanch them in boiling water for 5 seconds to make peeling easier. Optional. Put the tomatoes in a food processor and blend until smooth. For a smoother sauce, blend longer. For a slightly firmer sauce, blend lightly. Heat a small saucepan or pot over medium heat, then add the blended tomatoes. Add a little minced garlic, onion, or your preferred seasoning. Bring to a gentle boil, then reduce heat and simmer until slightly thickened, 5 to 10 minutes. It doesn't need to be excessively thick. You can add a little olive oil to enhance the flavor and help the sauce last longer. Allow the tomato sauce to cool completely before pouring it into a tray or container. Avoid pouring hot sauce directly into Ziploc bags or plastic containers to prevent deformation or condensation. Pour into a tray, divide the sauce into small portions, and freeze each portion individually. Freeze storage can be stored for 6 to 12 months while retaining flavor. Take directly from the freezer into the pot. Use for pasta sauces, pizza, soups, or as a side dish. No need to thaw beforehand. The sauce will melt quickly when heated. I find making the sauce and then freezing it extremely convenient. The sauce retains the natural sweetness of the cherry tomatoes, its vibrant red color, and its aroma. When needed for cooking, just take it out and use it immediately, saving time on preparation. This is one of the methods Americans often use for meal prep. Method 5. Making salsa and refrigerating. Cut cherry tomatoes in half or quarters depending on size. It's such a joy that we're connecting from all over the world. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for your support. Red onion, peel and finely chop. Garlic, peel and finely chop or use a garlic press. Fresh chili peppers. Remove seeds if you want less spiciness. Chop finely. Fresh cilantro. Wash, shake off excess water, chop finely. Tip: chop cilantro just before mixing to retain its fresh aroma. Place the chopped cherry tomatoes in a large bowl. Add the red onion, garlic, chili peppers, and cilantro. Squeeze in the lemon juice. Season with a pinch of salt, pepper, and a little sugar if you want to balance the sourness. Gently mix with a spoon, avoiding bruising the tomatoes. Mix gently using a folding technique to combine the ingredients while keeping the tomatoes juicy. Choose a clean, dry glass jar. Transfer salsa into jars, not overstuffing. If you want to keep it longer, you can add a little apple cider vinegar to increase its shelf life. Transfer salsa into jars, not overstuffing. If you want to keep it longer, you can add a little apple cider vinegar to increase its shelf life. It will last for about 2 to 3 days. When eating, simply take it directly from the refrigerator and mix lightly before serving. Serve with tacos, bread, salads, or as a topping for grilled meats and burgers. The salsa will retain the freshness, juiciness, and natural aroma of the cherry tomatoes. I find making salsa from cherry tomatoes and refrigerating it extremely convenient. The salsa retains its bright red color, natural sweetness, and fresh tomato aroma. It's quick to cook or serve with other dishes, saving you time on preparation. This is a method many Americans use to prepare fresh, delicious, and healthy food. What method do you usually use to preserve cherry tomatoes? Please leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your method. If you liked this video, please leave a heart in the comments and a like. Thank you, my dear friends.